It's one of those questions that just doesn't seem to make any sense, right? How can the country with more oil than literally anywhere else on Earth run out of gas? It's a paradox that feels like it breaks the basic laws of supply and demand. Well, today we're going to get to the bottom of that exact mystery.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the sheer scale of this impossible contradiction. Then, we'll get into the mind-blowing engineering it takes to even get this oil out of the ground. From there, we'll see how it all became a political piggy bank, how the whole system just broke down, and of course, the devastating human cost of it all. And finally, we'll ask, what's next?
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this, we have to start with the sheer staggering amount of wealth we are talking about here. Because, that's what makes the whole situation so completely baffling.
So let's get our bearings. Here we are looking at the northern tip of South America. This is Venezuela. And you can just see from the geography that this is a nation that basically won the natural resource lottery. It's right at the heart of our story.
And this is the number that changes everything. 303 billion barrels. Just let that sink in. That's the world's largest proven oil reserve. It's more than Saudi Arabia, more than Canada. It is quite literally a sea of black gold waiting under the ground.
And this, right here, this captures the whole paradox in a single glance. It's just jarring. On one side, you have this geological jackpot, this promise of unbelievable wealth, and on the other, the grim reality for millions of people, waiting for days and endless lines for gas. A whole country basically grinding to a halt. This is the mystery we're here to unravel.
Which brings us right back to that big, central question. It just feels impossible, doesn't it? How on earth did things get to this point? Well, the answer is a fascinating and pretty tragic story that actually starts not with politics, but with geology.
You see, and this is key. Not all oil is created equal. To really understand Venezuela's crisis, we have to go deep underground and look at what this oil is actually like.
This quote absolutely nails the problem. Forget any picture you have in your head of oil just gushing out of the ground. Instead, I want you to imagine trying to suck cold, thick peanut butter through a very, very long straw. That's the kind of massive challenge we're talking about here.
The technical name for this stuff is extra heavy crude, and the name says it all. It's super dense, it's sticky, it's full of junk like sulfur. It is a completely different animal from the light, sweet crude, the liquid gold that you find in other parts of the world.
And this chart really spells out the difference. I mean, look at this. Light crude is a free-flowing liquid. You can pump it pretty easily. But this extra heavy stuff, you have to blast it with superheated steam or mix it with chemicals just to get it to move at all. It's a whole other ballgame.
So, the solution they came up with was nothing short of brilliant. They built a man-made river of steel, a massive 2,000-mile-long network of specialized, often heated pipelines designed to literally force this impossible peanut butter-like oil to flow from the fields to the coast. It was a true marvel of modern engineering.
Okay, so you've built this incredible but very complex and delicate river of steel. It needs constant maintenance, constant expertise. And that brings us to the people managing it, the company at the center of this entire story, the state-run oil company, PDVSA.
This timeline really shows you the critical turning points. It started out as a national company, and in the 90s it became incredibly professional, a world-class operation. But then came the 2002-2003 strike, and this was the moment everything changed. After the strike, the government fired almost 20,000 experienced engineers, geologists, and managers. Think about that, a catastrophic brain drain. And after that, the company's entire mission shifted. It wasn't about producing oil anymore, it was about funding the state.
And here's the proof. PDVSA essentially became the government's personal ATM. By 2005, it was providing nearly half of all the money the government had. Now, that cash was used to pay for social programs, but it came at a huge cost. It was money that should have gone back into maintaining that critical, very fragile river of steel.
So what do you think happens when you fire all the experts who know how to run the country's most important industry and then you take all its money away? Well, the system starts to break. And it's not like a light switch. It's a slow, painful, cascading failure.
The numbers? Well, they tell a shocking story. Look at this. In just 5 years, between 2013 and 2018, oil production fell off a cliff. It was cut by more than half. The entire engine of the country was seizing up right before everyone's eyes.
And here's exactly why. You've got the experts gone. You've got no money for basic repairs. So that river of steel, it starts to rust, leak, and break. The refineries that turn the heavy crude into gasoline start to fail. And then comes the ultimate irony. The country with the most oil on Earth had to start importing gasoline. To top it all off, international sanctions made it almost impossible to get spare parts or find partners to help fix anything. It was a perfect storm.
And look, this wasn't just some abstract industrial problem happening far away. The collapse of this system had a direct, profound, and absolutely devastating impact on the daily lives of millions of ordinary Venezuelans.
This quote just makes it so real. Can you imagine? This wasn't a minor inconvenience. This was a total societal breakdown. People's entire lives revolved around finding gas, sleeping in their cars for days at a time just hoping to get enough fuel to get to work, or take their kids to school, or buy groceries.
And the ripples spread everywhere. With no fuel, trucks couldn't get food from farms to cities, so food started rotting in the fields. The failing pipelines caused horrific oil spills, poisoning lakes and national parks. And the economic collapse was so complete that by 2017, almost 9 out of 10 Venezuelans were living in poverty.
Which brings us to today. The system is shattered, the damage is almost hard to comprehend. The big question now is, can this flow ever be started again? Now there are a few tiny signs of change. There was a recent agreement with neighboring Colombia to fix an old pipeline. It's a very small step, but it's a step toward maybe, just maybe, rebuilding some of those energy connections.
And let's not forget what's still there. That unbelievable wealth. Those 303 billion barrels of oil. They haven't gone anywhere. They're still underground. This silent reminder of the incredible potential that was so tragically wasted.
So, we end up right back where we started. That river of steel was a triumph of engineering, a brilliant solution to a huge geological problem. But it was broken by politics. And the final question we're left with is this: can an engineering marvel that was destroyed by political choices ever really be rebuilt? And what on earth would it take for all that oil, all that incredible wealth, to finally start flowing for the people who live right on top of it,